Rank 1, police officer. You earn your shield the hard way. Civil service exam, medical screening, psychological evaluation, background check, academy. Then 6 months at the police academy in Queens, where every hallway smells like floor wax, sweat, and somebody else's stress. You learn penal law, patrol procedures, radio codes, and stop and frisk policy history. You learn use of force rules, domestic violence response, and report writing so specific it feels like a second language. You drill in formation, run and shoot. You get corrected for everything from your posture to the way you hold a memo book. By graduation, your family is in the stands, your uniform finally fits right, and for one afternoon the whole thing looks noble. Then you hit the street, and the city removes the romance in one tour. Your first command is a busy precinct where the desk sergeant barely looks up when you walk in. You're the new cop, the fresh uniform, the one everyone can spot from 20 feet away by how polished your shoes are. You work patrol in a radio car with a veteran who has seen enough of New York to stop being surprised by anything. Your shift starts before the sun comes up and somehow still ends in traffic. One call is a shoplifting complaint at a pharmacy. The next is a domestic where the couple is screaming, the neighbors are filming, and a child is crying behind the couch. Then a mentally disturbed person walking into traffic. Then a car accident, then a burglary report from 6 hours earlier, then a robbery that happened 30 seconds ago, and suddenly your pulse is in your throat. This is the rank where you learn what the city actually is. It isn't one thing. It's luxury buildings and shelters on the same block. It's tourists asking for directions while a fight breaks out across the street. It's paperwork after everything. Arrest paperwork, aided reports, complaint reports, body camera uploads, command logs, property vouchers. You thought police work would be about action. It's mostly about judgment, patience, and not making a stupid mistake at the worst possible moment. Every old-timer tells you the same thing in different words. Slow down, pay attention, and go home safe. Rank 2, detective. You make detective after proving you can do more than answer radio runs. Maybe you caught a pattern others missed. Maybe you developed a solid collar into a stronger case. Maybe a lieutenant noticed that your paperwork was clean and your interviews actually got people talking. However it happens, one day the shield changes color and your entire job changes with it. Now you aren't racing from call to call. Now you stay with the problem. You land in a detective squad where the walls are lined with case folders, wanted flyers, surveillance photos, and coffee stains old enough to vote. Cases have weight in here. A robbery pattern in Upper Manhattan and a burglary crew working Queens. A shooting in Brooklyn where nobody saw anything and somehow everybody knows who did it. You start with almost nothing. Grainy camera footage, a nickname, a partial plate, a rumor from a confidential informant who wants a favor before he gives you anything useful. This rank is less about force and more about patience. You sit through interviews that last hours, you run down leads that go nowhere, you knock on doors that never open, you watch security footage until your eyes hurt, looking for a limp, a tattoo, the logo on a jacket, anything. Then a witness slips, and a phone dump connects 2 names. A social media post puts the suspect near the scene at the exact wrong time. Suddenly, the whole shape of the case changes. You coordinate with patrol and make the arrest. Then you spend the next day building the package for the district attorney so the case survives beyond the handcuffs. It feels good when the pieces lock together. Better than patrol, sometimes, cleaner and smarter. But the losses are sharper too. Homicide scenes stay with you. Child cases stay with you worse. You stop sleeping as deeply as you used to. You start reading people faster than they want to be read. You realize the city tells the truth all the time if you know where to look. Rank 3 sergeant. Promotion means stripes, and stripes mean people start looking at you before they act. That's the difference. As a cop or detective, you are responsible for your work. As a sergeant, you're responsible for everybody else's work too. You supervise a patrol squad now. Roll call is yours. The cops in front of you are older, younger, sharper, lazier, better, worse, and all of them have opinions. Some remember when you were one of them and test whether the stripes changed your spine. You assign posts, inspect uniforms, check body cameras, and put out the conditions from the previous tour. Grand larceny patterns, transit robberies, and a missing teen. a wanted parole absconder with violent priors. Then the sector cars head out, and the radio starts chewing through the night. A sergeant lives in motion. You back up jobs, respond to use of force incidents, and approve arrests. You make sure prisoners are searched properly, paperwork is correct, and evidence isn't ruined by carelessness. If one of your cops says he smelled marijuana before a car stop, you ask exactly when, exactly where, and exactly what happened next. If an officer loses his temper on body camera, that becomes your problem. If a rookie freezes on a gun run, that becomes your problem too. This rank teaches you that leadership in the NYPD isn't a speech. It's correction in a hallway and calm on a chaotic scene. It's paperwork at the end of a 16-hour day because a bad arrest today becomes a lawsuit next year. Your best cops think ahead. Your worst cops create work. You learn who needs guidance, who needs discipline, and who should never be left alone with a messy job. You also learn that morale can drop faster than crime ever does. A good sergeant keeps standards high without turning the squad room into a funeral parlor. Rank 4, Lieutenant. Now you're running the platoon. Sergeants report to you and the desk asks for you. The captain expects answers from you before the question is finished. Your command isn't abstract anymore. It has shape and noise and consequences. As a lieutenant, you're the watch commander on many tours, the one balancing the precinct while everything arrives at once. A shooting in one sector, a barricaded, emotionally disturbed person in another. A protest moving toward a busy avenue, a vehicle pursuit. Another command wants permission to continue. The front desk is jammed with complainants. The holding cells are full, and the phones are ringing. Your job is to make the place function. This is where tactics and administration collide. You deploy resources, authorize notifications, review major incident reports, and decide whether the circumstances justify calling in specialized units. Emergency service, hostage negotiation, and crime scene. Internal affairs. If the incident goes bad enough, you monitor your sergeants because one weak sergeant can turn an entire tour into confusion. You monitor your cops because fatigue and frustration create mistakes. You monitor yourself because your tone becomes the room's tone. A lieutenant in New York learns the value of calm language. If you sound panicked, everyone below you gets louder. If you sound clear, the room settles. During one ugly summer night, a double shooting comes in. A building fire displaces 40 tenants, and a deputy inspector wants an update on crime conditions before midnight. You don't get to choose one crisis. You carry all of them at once. By the end of the tour, your coffee is cold and your collar feels too tight. Your command log reads like a compressed biography of urban chaos. Rank 5, Captain. This is the point where your name carries weight outside the building. You command a precinct, a specialized unit, or a major function inside one. The cops know you. The community board knows you. The local clergy know you. The borough command definitely knows you, especially when numbers go in the wrong direction. A captain lives between the street and the politics above it. You're responsible for crime trends, personnel performance, quality of life complaints, overtime, discipline, community outrage, and the physical condition of the command itself. If robberies spike near public housing, you answer for the plan. If response times creep up, you answer for that too. If a viral video clips 10 seconds from a longer encounter, the whole city decides it knows what happened. Your phone starts vibrating before the facts arrive. You spend mornings in CompStat-style meetings defending deployment strategies with crime maps and arrest numbers. You spend afternoons speaking with block associations about package thefts, illegal scooters, and open-air drug activity near schools. You spend nights on scenes where your presence alone tells everyone this incident matters. The uniform is sharper at this level, but the job is messier. You're accountable upward and outward at the same time. This rank changes the meaning of pressure. As a sergeant, you feared your cops making mistakes. As a captain, you fear systems breaking, staffing holes, burnout, and bad patterns hidden inside decent numbers. You realize that good precincts are built on habits no newspaper will ever mention. Rank 6, Deputy Inspector. Now the department stops seeing you as merely a precinct commander and starts seeing you as executive material. You command larger, more complex operations or high-profile precincts where failure gets noticed quickly and publicly. Deputy inspector is where management becomes strategic. You aren't only responding to what happened today, you're shaping what happens next month. You analyze crime conditions by sector, hour, and crew. You look at complaints against officers, training gaps, absentee rates, and whether your supervisors are actually supervising or just surviving. You work with prosecutors, city agencies, school officials, housing managers, and every other part of New York that intersects with disorder. You can still walk a street and feel a block, but increasingly your decisions happen in conference rooms. You approve initiatives, adjust deployment, and prepare briefings that climb the chain of command. Every answer must be short, precise, and backed by facts, because the person asking may have 5 more commands to review before lunch. You learn to speak in results. But the city still has a way of pulling rank down the pavement. A major homicide, an officer-involved shooting, a riot outside a precinct, and suddenly all the charts and staffing plans become secondary to command presence. You step onto the scene, lights bouncing off your gold insignia, and everyone turns toward you for direction. Rank 7, Inspector. At Inspector, your world widens again. You oversee multiple commands or major sections whose work touches thousands of officers and millions of residents. Individual arrests no longer define your day. Systems, patterns, and operational discipline do. You review precinct performance across an area instead of one building. One command has rising grand larcenies. Another has weak supervision on midnight tour. A third is making numbers but generating community complaints. You visit all of them. You read their leadership instantly. A command either feels tight or it feels loose. The difference is usually visible before anyone opens a spreadsheet. This rank is where you become a fixer. If a captain is strong but overwhelmed, you support him. If a command staff is drifting, you reset it. If a major event is coming, parade, protest, holiday deployment, political visit, you coordinate the operation. You make sure everyone down the line understands the plan before the first barricade goes up. You're less visible to the public than a precinct commander, but your hand is on far more of the machine. Rank 8, Deputy Chief. Now you're commanding at the borough or division level, dealing with an enormous patch of the city and the complicated personalities inside it. Deputy Chief sounds ceremonial to outsiders. It isn't. It's constant pressure with gold oak leaves on the collar. You oversee large field operations, multiple precincts, specialized resources, and the chain of command beneath all of it. Demonstrations, major incidents, citywide alerts, coordinated crime initiatives, all of it lands on your desk or your phone. The mayor wants calm. Headquarters wants results. The public wants safety without inconvenience. The cops want clarity and support. None of those demands arrive in a neat order. At this level, your greatest skill is judgment. Not bravery, not stamina, judgment. When to flood a corridor with resources. When to pull back, when to transfer a commander, and when to stand by one under pressure. Every decision affects thousands of cops and countless civilians. One bad call can echo for years. Rank 9, Assistant Chief. Assistant Chief places you among the top uniformed leaders in the department. Entire boroughs, major operational branches, or huge support structures can fall under your authority. You're no longer reacting to New York. You're helping shape how the department meets New York. Your day starts with intelligence briefings and ends with strategy meetings that blur into the evening. Crime trends, protest planning, terrorism concerns, staffing shortages, technology rollouts, officer wellness, disciplinary matters. All of it is in your lane somehow. You sit with chiefs, city officials, federal partners, and legal advisors. Every room has its own language. You learn to translate among all of them without losing the mission. You haven't made a street arrest in years. That part of your career is gone. But your decisions determine who gets trained and where officers go. They also determine how units coordinate and whether a commander in a difficult precinct has the resources to keep order. The distance from the sidewalk is greater now, but the responsibility is heavier. Rank 10, Bureau Chief. A bureau chief runs one of the department's major bureaus: patrol, detectives, transit, housing, transportation, personnel. Whichever giant piece of the organization becomes yours. This is not command over one corner of New York. This is command over a whole category of how the city is policed. Thousands of uniformed members, civilian staff, budgets, policies, operational plans, interagency coordination, all of it moves through your office. You review citywide performance, issue directives, answer commissioner-level questions, and manage the friction between operational reality and political expectation. The scale is hard to explain unless you've lived it. One policy memo from your bureau can alter how cops operate from Staten Island to the Bronx by the next tour. The strangest part is how far you are from the life that started this. Years ago, you chased radio runs and hoped your reports were clean. Now you shape the standards those reports must meet. Yet the core truth remains the same. Bad leadership hurts the street first. Good leadership protects it before anyone notices danger. Rank 11, Chief of Department. This is the highest-ranking uniform position in the NYPD. Above you is the police commissioner, a civilian appointee. Operationally, the entire uniform side of the department runs through you. You're responsible for the movement of one of the largest police forces in the world. Patrol across 5 boroughs, detectives, specialized units, major events, and emergency response. Citywide deployment during blizzards, blackouts, terror scares, civil unrest, and the ordinary violence of an ordinary Tuesday in New York. Your phone is alive before dawn and stays alive long after midnight. At this level, the job becomes almost pure consequence. A cop gets injured during a pursuit. A demonstration turns volatile. A child is shot in a crossfire. An officer uses force on camera and the city splits into instant camps before the investigation is even complete. You stand in front of podiums, in operations centers, at hospital hallways, at funerals. You issue orders that move thousands. You review plans for events that millions will attend. You carry the failures personally because there's nowhere else for them to go. And still, beneath all that rank, the job is connected to the first tour in the first precinct. A frightened victim waiting for help and a radio car arriving. A uniform stepping out into noise and uncertainty. You understand now what you couldn't have understood as a rookie. The department isn't built from headquarters down. It's built from the street up. Every rank above police officer exists to support what happens in that first moment. You started with polished shoes and a fresh academy haircut, hoping not to embarrass yourself on patrol. You end here with stars, gold braid, and a city depending on decisions most people will never see. That's your life as every rank in the NYPD. The climb looks like power from the outside. From the inside, it feels more like weight. The higher you rise, the more of New York you carry.